Coming up on College Press Box, the NFL draft success is lacking for the Longhorns.
Texas baseball battled both the weather and the Cowboys this weekend.
And the THTV seniors say farewell.
All this and more on College Press Box.
Welcome to College Press Box. It's the end of the semester, which means it's time for our senior show. Beside me tonight is Jett Beachum, and throughout the night we will be joined by more senior analysts. Jett, how's it going tonight?
Oh, semester's winding down. I'm on pins and needles a little bit right now. It kind of sucks. This is the last show, but hey, got to make the most of it.
Yeah, it's finally our time.
Yeah.
So did you catch any of the draft this weekend?
I did. I watched the entire first round and was able to actually watch the second and third. And I did watch most of the later rounds, of course. Not as many picks that you really know, but yeah, it was exciting. It was one of those drafts where first time in a while I was surprised by all the moves. You know, you knew the two quarterbacks were going with the first two picks, but you had no clue about the rest of the draft. And then, of course, was a little scrutiny, was a little scandal during the draft, which is something I've never seen.
It's definitely one of the more interesting drafts I've seen. And you know, one of Texas's own, Hassan Ridgeway, was drafted this weekend. He went in the fourth round to the Indianapolis Colts. College Press Box Mark Skoll was able to speak with Ridgeway following his selection.
After months of the pre-draft process, former Texas defensive tackle Hassan Ridgeway finally knows who he will be playing for, the Indianapolis Colts.
I mean, words can't express how I was feeling when I got the call. It's been a big day. I mean, a lot of emotions, a lot of thinking going on. I hadn't time to just sit down and relax yet and just sit there and think.
Ridgeway was selected by the Colts in the fourth round with the 116th overall pick and was admittedly surprised by the Colts' decision.
No, I hadn't talked to them at all. I mean, I didn't know they were going to pick me at all. Everybody I thought was going to grab me. And it didn't work out that way.
One of the main reasons why Ridgeway decided to forego his senior season at the University of Texas was the second-round draft grade he received from the NFL's College Advisory Committee. Now, despite being a fourth-round selection in this year's NFL draft, Ridgeway is ready to make a difference for his team in Indianapolis.
I don't care what nobody say. I mean, I feel like I was the best player in the draft. It don't matter where you go. It doesn't matter at all what draft you first, second, third, fourth round, fifth round pick. You made it to the NFL. What are you going to do with it now?
Getting to the NFL was a big accomplishment for Ridgeway, but it's only the first step of his professional career.
The goal is the NFL. This is the goal. This is what you strive for. I mean, that's just one of them, though. I mean, this is just one of many. I met one of them, and I keep going. I'm just ready to be there. I mean, it's going to be amazing just being there.
Ridgeway will fly to Indianapolis on Thursday for player introductions. Mark Skoll Jr., College Press Box.
And so for our first analyst of the night, we have Julian Owens with us to talk more about the draft. Julian, it's great to be back on the show with you. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Renee. How about yourself?
I'm hoping to get through this show, honestly. So Hassan Ridgeway was projected second-round draft pick. However, over the weekend, he did end up falling to the fourth round, finally going 116th overall. What went on with that fall?
Well, let's look at Ridgeway just past season. He played 11 games. He had over 30 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 3.5 sacks. Overall, he did a very phenomenal job with the season as the Horns, but what a lot of scouts were really looking at towards his being drafted on the draft board is just the fact that he had an injury this earlier season. That's why he only played 11 games. Now, on top of that, he's really not that explosive off the line, but when he gets to the play, when he gets in the backfield, he can do some tremendous field work. So with that, on top of that, just on injuries, a lot of scouts didn't really know what he was going to be able to do. They don't know if he's going to be able to be stable that often, that well. So I just think that was the reason why he went from the second to the fourth round. But overall, you know, they will have a great addition to their defensive team, and Ridgeway will do phenomenal. It's just he just got to stay healthy and make sure that he doesn't actually get into any more health problems in his career.
And I'm going to have to agree with Julian. Exactly. I think he's spot on with the injury talk. You know, teams nowadays, they care about injuries, think about Miles Jack, think about Jalen Smith, you know, guys that are injured. And so there's huge question marks on these guys. And Hassan was the same way. You know, he was a round 2, possible round 1 on some people's draft boards talent. But the thing is, you know, after not as productive as earlier years season, and then also with a couple injuries this season, didn't play all the games, durability issues. They look at this and months of preparation for the draft. So I think the Colts did get a steal, in my opinion, in the 4th round. But Hassan he has to stay healthy. That's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, it's really great that we didn't get a Longhorn drafted. We didn't end up going 0 this year. But, you know, Hassan wasn't the only player to fall. The 2016 Heisman winner, Derrick Henry, is the first Heisman winner in 10 years who wasn't a first-round draft pick. He ended up going 45th overall. So, Julian, why wasn't he gone in the 1st round?
I mean, let's look at it. Let's look at his stats first. Henry threw over 2,200 rushing yards, then had 28 touchdowns. That's SEC's record-breaking out of all time. So, you know, Henry is doing really well in terms of just his productive play. But I think the problem what's going to be with Henry is that I don't think he's that big enough to be as a running back in the NFL. He needs to gain a little bit more weight. He needs to bulk up a little bit before he goes into the game. And then also on top of that, Henry, he does not that explosive in the backfield. It's just when you get him in open field and open stride, you see him do some big, tremendous plays. But in that backfield, where you're going to have a lot of linebackers come and rush him, he's not that very great. He has a lot of rushes where he goes and gets tackled for losses. But when you get him big open fields like what Alabama did in the offensive line, he does phenomenal in. So I think that's the reason why a lot of scouts put him, like that's why he was drafted in the 2nd round. But overall, like, he is a great running back. I just wouldn't see him as 1st-round caliber running back, to my opinion.
And I have to agree. I don't think he was a first-round really athlete there. The thing is Alabama, such a great team, first of all. But their O-line is the best, and their D-line is the best year in and year out. And that O-line has always been good. You think about former Alabama running backs. You got Eddie Lacy, Trent Richardson, Mark Ingram. All 3 of those great running backs near the Heisman list. You know, Mark Ingram won it. Trent Richardson was close. But honestly, like you look at their NFL production, Mark Ingram, he's had a so-so career. Trent Richardson's bounced around from team to team. Eddie Lacy was probably the best, was a rookie of the year, but last year gained a lot of weight, didn't have a great productive season for the Packers. So I think a lot of that kind of ties in, and really Henry's he's a one-gap back. He finds the hole. It's hard to tackle him, don't get me wrong, but he has one speed. He doesn't really have that lateral quickness like an Ezekiel Elliott that got drafted by the Cowboys in the 1st round. So really, I mean, Henry, I think he's a good pickup where it was, but I do not think that he was a 1st-round talent.
Alrighty, thank you for that thought. And, you know, thank you, Julian. Thanks so much for being on one last time. We've appreciated all the content and personality you've brought to the show over the years.
Thanks, Renee. It's been a pleasure all these years, and it's going to be hard to let this go.
Yeah, can't disagree with you there. Coming up next on College Press Box, we head out to the Diamond and are joined by 2 more senior analysts. Stay tuned.
Thank you for sticking with us here on College Press Box. Texas baseball hosted number 22 Oklahoma State over the weekend in a series that featured 2 of the top 4 teams in Big 12 play. Let's head over to the dish for the highlights. Last week's Big 12 Pitcher of the Week, Thomas Hatch, was on the mound for the Pokes in Austin this weekend. Bottom of the 7th, Oklahoma State up 1-0. Casey Clemens fouls it, but wait, left fielder John Little tracks it down, gets the great catch, and put his body on the line. Now the Cowboys' Pokes infielder Garrett Bench gets a single past Jim Baker, putting 2 men on the bases. In the very next play, trying to get these insurance runs, but Josh Scheuer strikes him out and ends the threat into 7th. There he is walking off. Give him in the meat eye, but they're still down 1-0. With a runner on 3rd, though, for the Horns, looking to come back. Oh, Brett Boswell strikes out to end the inning. The Pokes are still up 1-0. In the 9th, we go with 2 on. Oklahoma State's J.R. Davis singles past the kneeling Casey Clemens. That scores a run. Oh, but wait. Actually, Pappas can't. That scores another run. The Cowboys go 3-0 in the 9th, last play. Right to the pitcher. He gets a complete game. Pitcher Thomas Hatch goes 9 for the win, and that's all we have for today. In game 2, both teams got the scoring going early and were tied 2 in the second inning. The Cowboys ended the tie in the 6th with a single up the middle by Donnie Walton, bringing home Corey Hassel. The Cowboys added 2 more runs in the 6th to make it 5-2 and eventually would win the series clinching game 6-3. Going on to the game 3, going for the sweep, Oklahoma State scored the first 4 runs of the game before the Horns responded in the 6th with 3 runs of their own and tied it in the 7th with a Joe Baker single to right center. The Cowboys responded the next inning, however, by a loaded bases on Texas pitcher Chase Shugart. Shugart walked in the first run and then hit the batter on the next plate appearance before giving up a 2-run single that sealed the Horns' fate. The Cowboys never looked back and wound up completing the sweep of the Longhorns with the 8-4 win in Game 3. So Texas baseball has had an up-and-down season so far and only have 8 more games left to right the ship. We welcome in Amanda Atwell to give us her take on the baseball team. Amanda, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jett. What about yourself?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for asking. Let's get into it. What does this team need to do to focus on in these last 8 games of the regular season?
Right now, Jett, I really think Texas just needs to focus on fixing the little things. They were pretty tight with Oklahoma State this weekend. They held them for 5 innings in Game 1 and posted a near comeback in Game 3. The main thing I'm seeing is a lack of consistent offense. They put up 17 runs over Texas Tech and can't manage a single one against Oklahoma in Game 1. That's a little unacceptable. A stronger offense may sound like an obvious fix, but you really can't expect to win games when you can hardly get on base. I really don't think you can look to blame the pitching staff in a 3-point deficit situation like Game 1 and Game 2. What they really need to do is focus on playing clean, consistent defense for the rest of the regular season and really focus on being able to get on base with some of these solid Big 12 pitchers like OSU's Thomas Hatch.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Amanda. We've seen that this is very possible for this team to do. We've seen them score great runs, like the 17-1 win at Texas Tech, and they had scored. They won against Kansas State 12-5. I mean, so we've seen that they need to just get back into whatever mindset they brought into that game, and if they can keep that going, they do have a chance.
Yeah, and it seems like there's either a scoring outburst or there's no scoring at all. And
yeah,
you got to be consistent, and that's how you win games, and especially in a pretty decent Big 12. So it seems like Texas' only chance now to get in the postseason is to win the Big 12, which is actually something they did last year after a shaky season. So Amanda, do you think the Horns have a chance, and what would they need to do to make that happen?
Honestly, Jett, I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up showing out in the conference tournament, if they had a random spurt of solid offense like they did against TCU and Tech earlier in the season. I think they have a good chance. At the same time, I really wouldn't be surprised if they blew it and didn't make it to the postseason. You really can't predict this team right now, from a sad start to winning the series against 2 dominant teams to getting swept for the first time in conference this season. You don't know what to expect. Augie admitted it himself, the tournament is basically their last chance to make it any further, so they really just need to focus on winning these last 8 games, getting the best seed possible. It really all just comes down to consistency with this Texas team, which is something they obviously proved they don't have.
I mean, yeah, we've seen them play, so obviously they have to win the Big 12 tournament. And the Longhorns play best, I think, when their backs are up against the wall. So I think having to go into this and knowing that this is their only chance to keep moving forward, that they have to keep winning, I think they can do it. And I think if they keep playing, clean, consistent baseball, all the things Amanda was talking about before, Texas baseball could potentially make it. Not saying they will, but I'm not ruling it out for them.
And as she mentioned, about Tech and Texas Tech. The series, they put up 17 runs in that one game. They came back, ended up winning the series. And so it's like, and even TC against TCU, the top 2 teams in the Big 12 Conference, they've won both series already this year. So it's really just about being consistent. Like, of course, in the Big 12 play, it's almost kind of like a win or go home. So you have to win 4 games. And so we'll see if the Texas baseball team can.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get the right combination of matchups to be in their favor.
All right, so thank you for joining us for one last time on the show, Amanda. It's been an amazing 4 years.
Yes, it has. I'm sad to see it go. Great to be on.
All right, so from baseball now into softball. Following a 6-0 win over Texas Southern on Wednesday, the softball team looked to face Big 12 opponent Kansas. Following a rainout on Friday, the 2 teams faced off in a doubleheader. In Game 1, Tiara Davis pitched her 20th complete game of the season. Davis allowed only 3 hits to lead the Longhorns to a 3-1 victory. For the second game on Saturday, let's head down to McCombs Field for the highlights. We're going to have sophomore Kristen Clark on the mound for Texas, and we're going to start things off in the top of the second with Kansas already up 1-0. We have Jessie Roan at the plate. She hits the ball deep into center field, but we have Lindsey Stevens with a great catch of the wall to keep everyone where they are. Just a few plays later, we're going to have Chavez at the plate. She hits what should end up being an easy pop-out, but we'll have Devin Tunning just fumble the ball a little bit right there. Chavez will be safe at first, and Brickley will be thrown out at home. We're going to just keep moving on in this inning. They are beating up. We have Harley Riding hitting a home run, moving the score up to 4-0 Kansas. You can see them celebrating. They are enjoying this lead that they've got. This lead will continue. We have Roan hitting a home run to left field, and we have runners on at that point. So now it is 6-0 Kansas. Kansas is up 6-0 in only the third inning against this Texas softball team. Still in this third inning, we have McGinley. She hits a single. We see some more fielding issues from Texas softball. 2 more runs end up scoring for Kansas, and they are now up 8-0. We see the softball team trying to figure out what they can do to stop this Kansas offense, and they were just not going to be able to figure it out, and they go on to lose 9-0. On Sunday, for the final game of the series, Texas softball was looking to split the series, or get the series win after splitting the previous 2. Tiara Davis pitched yet again in another complete game. This one was a shutout, and the bats backed up her performance, scoring 6 runs. Already up 2-0, Lindsey Stevens' grand slam in the 4th inning closed the door against Kansas. The Longhorns beat the Jayhawks 6-0 and are now preparing to play North Texas on Wednesday and later on travel to Iowa State this weekend. So we've got our final analyst of the evening joining us now, and I'd like to welcome in Caden Kinard. Caden, how are you doing tonight? You getting a little emotional about the last show?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk about one of the few teams that did well here in my 2 years at Texas.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great that we do have some winning teams for us. The softball team currently has the 31-13 record, and it shows that they've found their identity. Yet, as of late, they've been evolving, haven't they?
Yeah, 44 games into this season, and Texas is just now starting to find its offense. In the past 10 games, they've averaged about 5 runs per game, and there have been a few people working through some things. It was nice to see Randall Leahy get into the last game. Apparently, she's just been unbelievable in practice, and to finally get that chance and prove herself was a nice jolt for the offense. There's freshman Reagan Hathaway, how she mentioned she is just now starting to feel comfortable at the plate. How many games in the season? 45. Overall, we've been talking with this group about how it is really important to finish right now in these last 8 games and how important those last 10 games were to the committee.
And I was actually really impressed. They go out and win the first game. Second game, 9-1. It was a decisive win, and they come back. Tiara Davis shuts them out. They win 6-0. I mean, and really, it's what this team needs right now. They have to, even if you drop a game, which happens. It's a long season, just like baseball. You have to bounce back, really, and that's what this team needs to do. Now, they are getting good pitching from Tiara and then Von Sprecken as well, who Von Sprecken's offense has actually started to show as a pitcher. And Tiara Davis, she's been okay at the plate too. But really, what they need to do is just be consistent, as Caden was saying. And they're starting to find themselves after a dip in the middle of the season. They started off real strong, going undefeated for double-digit games, dipped down a little bit, and now are back, and we'll see what they can do in the future.
Yeah, they definitely are hitting their stride, which is great for head coach Connie Clark. She just won her 800th game as the head coach. But, they still have 18 wins needed in the tournament. Does Texas have what it takes to make any noise this postseason, Caden?
First of all, congrats, Connie. With triumph, she became the 26th currently active Division I coach to possess at least 800 wins in her career, with every victory coming at the 40 acres, as she's the only coach UT's ever known. Then about the postseason, even at 31-13, Texas is not ranked in the top 25. They received a total of 3 votes, just not even close to making it. And if you peek at the top of the rankings, there sits Florida, 45-3, just an astounding mark coming off of as champs last year. When you look through the rest of the top 25, Texas has only played 2 games against ranked teams, Arizona and Baylor, and lost to both. The issue in both these games was, as we were talking about earlier, the lack of offense. So if they continue this recent offensive outburst, they might be able to steal a few games in the tournament, but nobody's going to beat Florida.
And I have to agree. I mean, I just think really this Big 12 is dominated by Baylor and Oklahoma, really. That's who usually dukes it out year in, year out, and Texas has struggled, versus both teams this year. And so we'll see, as I mentioned earlier, they started good early on. They had some good RPI wins, but really not much has really gone their way against the really true elite opponents they've faced this season. And as Caden was mentioning, 45-3 is the #1 team. They have 10 more losses than that, and so it's really hard for them to really make any true noise in postseason. Like, I could see maybe around, just winning the first round or winning a couple games and making a little push, but really for this team, a huge postseason run probably isn't going to be in the making.
Hopefully not, but we can stay positive. It is the postseason. Postseason changes everyone's mindset. Yep. Caden, thank you for joining us one last time on the show. It's been great listening to all your great analysis over the years.
Well, most of it was negative, but glad to be here.
So we're out of analysts, but that does not mean the sporting news is done. Coming up, we'll talk about some Big 12 championships as well as track and field. Keep it tuned in to College Press Box.
Welcome back to College Press Box, your go-to sports show on the 40 acres. This past weekend, #1 Texas men's golf traveled to Trinity, Texas to take part in the Big 12 championship at the Whispering Pines Golf Club. Texas led by 7 shots going into the final round on Sunday, where they blew away the competition. Texas's 15 under par final round was the lowest round ever, and its 26-stroke victory was the largest in Big 12 conference history. 4 Longhorns finished in the top 10, led by junior Bo Hosler, who finished the weekend 5 under par, tied for second place. The men's golf team captured its 4th straight Big 12 championship and its 47th overall.
The Big 12 Men's Tennis Championship was also this weekend. In the quarterfinal round, Texas was matched up against rival Oklahoma. Rain forced the two teams to move into an indoor facility, which, due to lack of space, altered gameplay. Instead of starting with doubles, singles went first, and if the two teams ended up splitting their singles matches, the doubles would be played as a tiebreaker. Unfortunately for Texas, they wouldn't go down to that tiebreaker, losing 4-1. The only Texas victory came from freshman Harrison Scott, who beat Sooners' Alex Galea. Scott started out strong and won the first set easily, 6-1. The second set was more of a battle with 3 sets of tiebreakers in it. Unfortunately, Scott's win wasn't enough, and the Longhorn men's tennis season ended in the quarterfinals.
And #24 women's tennis took on #19 Texas Tech in the quarterfinals of the Big 12 championships at Oklahoma State's Greenwood Tennis Center. Thunderstorms forced the matches indoors, much like the men, and play started with Texas senior Lena Gronvink, who won a 6-1, 6-2 singles win over Texas Tech's Kaylin Jackson to give the Horns the 1-0 lead. Texas 2-time All-American Brianna Addison also put on a strong showing in her singles match, defeating Tech's Gabriela Talaba 6-2 and 6-4. However, Texas's effort in the doubles matches fell short, losing all to Tech's tandems, and eventually dropped the contest 4-3.
The track and field team went to Des Moines, Iowa to compete in the 107th Drake Relays this weekend. The day started out strong, with the women's team earning second place in the sprint medley relay. However, in their next few races, they wouldn't place. A first place win in the 4x100, which only took them 44.47 seconds, and a second place finish in the 4x400 helped them tie things up with leader Baylor. The Texas and Baylor's women's teams each ended up finishing with 26 points in the competition and are the 2016 Co-Ivy Cup champions. The men's team also got to add in some victories with Robert he took silver in the men's 800 meters, and the men's team also won their 4x100 with a time of 40 seconds flat.
And #8 Texas rowing finished their regular season Saturday with a day of dual racing against #4 Virginia. Virginia came away with the win in all 4 races against Texas's A and B squads, including a decisive win in the varsity 4 race with a time of 6 minutes 50.25 seconds over Texas, who finished over 10 seconds later with a time of 7 minutes and 1.7 seconds. Texas rowing's next event is at the Big 12 Championships on May 14th and 15th, where they will race for an automatic bid to the NCAA Championships. Stick with us as we go into the last block of this year's show and our last block on College Press Box. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back one last time to the College Press Box Senior Show. Before we get into the sentimental portion, let's check out what's going on this week in Texas sports. On Tuesday, baseball takes on Prairie View A&M at 6 p.m. On Wednesday, softball plays North Texas at 5 p.m. And the Women's Golf NCAA Regional Championship will be Thursday through Saturday.
And on Friday the 6th, baseball will be at West Virginia. That's at 5:30. Softball will be at Iowa State at 4 p.m. And then on Saturday through Sunday, the track and field cross country Longhorn Invitational is at 9 a.m. And baseball concludes their West Virginia series at 3. Softball as well at Iowa State at 12 p.m.
Yeah, and on Sunday we have the remaining 2 games, baseball at noon and softball also at noon. So tune into one of the 2 games. So before we go,
our producer has put a goodbye to video together for us to watch. Awesome day. It's just a great day.
Joined here by Caden Kinard. Caden, how you doing today?
Great, thank you. Thanks for the seat warmers.
Yeah. I think that it's completely an accurate saying to, not whine about things.
Yes, sir.
Would you wear a bucket hat?
Oh, I own a couple bucket hats, actually.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Can I borrow one?
Yes.
Okay.
And we basically, we all talked about it last year.
So, sorry to have to disagree with you.
They've given me years of ineptitude, and we finally have that glimmer of hope.
I'm your host, Renee Moreno, and with me this evening is Camille Brooks. How are you doing, Camille?
I'll dance in front of the mirror and learn it so I don't look like an idiot out and about.
And then, it's terrible.
Thank you. Just get Blue Bells of cookies.
Put it in a bowl.
It's 1:30 It's an inspirational story, okay? I can like my story. I love Remember the Titans, but I wasn't alive when Remember the Titans happened. Okay.
I was caught texting on the sideline during a soccer game, and I got chewed out.
And with the tournament going their way and beating Ohio State and Gonzaga, the only place they can go is up.
Cameron, how are you doing this beautiful Monday?
Bro, I mean, come on. We got absolutely screwed by everything that game.
But it didn't really affect too much.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys still
it
made
did.
the playoffs,
It
so
did.
it literally had no significance in the end of the season.
It's significant in my heart.
Okay.
Nothing really. As you see, I've been trying to grow my hair out a little bit. Oh.
Oh wow, that was great getting to see relive all those memories that
Some
we've
memes.
had over the years. Definitely adds some sweet to the bittersweet that we're all feeling right about now. I mean, Julian, you had some hair then for a minute?
You still have that wig, Jill?
I still actually have that wig in my apartment. I should have brought it today. I really should have.
Great.
Oh man.
What a good one.
I think my personal favorite memory with TSTV was when Amanda and I, we had to do a game day production.
This was rough. This was
10-minute
a rough time.
pregame show, only supposed to be, not be that long.
Would have been fine.
Turned into 25.
I feel like it
How
felt
much
more
hockey
like
do I know about
45.
Texas Club? A fair amount. Not 25 minutes worth, and then the fight happened to the side.
Yeah,
Game
he almost
day.
got punched in the head. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
pretty.
That sticks out
On
to
live
me.
TV, it was great. It was a
Never
good
been
time.
physically assaulted at a TSTV set.
Does
Not
this
yet.
ball count?
It makes for great
Because-
memories.
Well, yeah, a little bit. But I mean, I remember, freshman year coming on, I remember a long time ago, like, just all the seniors, like, they helped us out, all the upperclassmen, and I'm glad that we're here now. I mean, I've been in a Scooby-Doo costume on college cross. I mean, all this unreal stuff that we've done, man, it's been a long ride.
Such great friendships.
I know, really
Memes.
doesn't feel like it's our time. Like it feels like just yesterday we were at our
Do you
first
guys-
I was just about to say that yesterday, it felt like yesterday I was in the Tournament of Champions, our first and last ever time having Tournament of Champions for College Crossfire, and now it's
you
like we're
lost?
graduating.
Yeah.
By cheating, by complete cheating, but it's all right.
You guys feel
I'm
ready
not
for
that salty.
jobs, right?
No.
We're all ready to go.
I will say TSTV has prepared us and helped me land some internships.
I would
We'll see
say-
about jobs.
Great,
I hope
great.
it's jobs,
I
but-
sure hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a great experience that we've had here. Yeah.
Raise your hand if you have a job set up. Okay.
Journalism.
Perfect.
I've had 3 internships.
It's been a great
TSTV.
experience here at TSTV. It's our last time on the show, but I mean, we're leaving the show in great hands. So that does it for us here on College Press Box. Be sure to tune in Wednesday at 9 and watch all of us debate the biggest sports news. And while we won't be back next semester, there will still be plenty of good shows and content, so make sure to tune in to whatever the guys are going to produce after us. I'm sure it's great things. So keep up with all the big news over the break by following @College Press Box and @CollegeXFire on Twitter. For Julian, Amanda, Caden, Jett, and myself, thanks for watching and have a great night.